After clicking to see the boring people want to add good friends, Nguyen Ngung directly ignored them. There were some old colleagues texting and asking her what was wrong. Even her ex-boyfriend, the second warm, also sent her situation. But Nguyen Ngung did not notice. However, Nguyen Ngung responded to Chao Tiujia's message, telling her that So Din Fong was frantically pursuing her, even borrowing money to lend usury to pretend to be a rich man. She told Chao Tiu infection to be careful with. So Din Fong, in the office, do not pay attention to him. Zhou Xiaoping responded, Stop stopping, you rest assured he has already resigned from his job. Unexpectedly he was such a person, so scary. You have to be careful with him. Nguyen Ngung. I will definitely be careful. The cat's head strokes. Zhou Xiaoping sent a brushed expression. Nguyen Ngung laughed, pressed the phone and left the house. When she walked to the elevator, she did not expect that there was a person there. It was a young girl who looked at her age, dressed simple, slim waist, long legs, delicate face, on her body exuding classic, elegant atmosphere. It seems that she used to learn to dance. Her legs were long and straight, just a slightly black skin. Nguyen Ngung held his mobile phone, smiling as if he greeted him. The other girl also smiled and replied, Going downstairs? Nguyen Ngung let out an hour. The other girl said, You just moved. I was in apartment 1802. Nguyen Ngung apartment is living in the outskirts. The terrain is located in a high place. The landscape is very beautiful. When the investor is exploited focused on real estate, from China to high end, the upper floors have only 2 apartments for 2 families. Few people but spacious space and more used space. At the foot of the high-rise buildings, there is a villa area. Because of the home of 2 families, the girl in household 1802 in front of this was her only neighbor before the end of the world. Nguyen Ngung said a sentence. I live in household 1801. The girl's eyes lit up. I've heard my brother mentioned recently there was a beautiful girl who moved to, but this is the first time I met her. Did you know my brother? Nguyen Ngung recalled a bit, but there was no impression, so he only chose the first half to answer. I just moved here. Normally I often go to work late, so I rarely have the opportunity to meet your brother. The elevator has arrived. The girl let Nguyen Ngung go first. After that, she just entered, clicked on the G floor, then asked Nguyen Ngung, Do you go to the G floor or the first floor? Nguyen Ngung noticed that there was a bottle in her hand. Moreover, it was very thick. I went down to the first floor, wanting to go downstairs to cut my hair. The other girl helped her press the elevator button on the first floor. It is true that the gentle fairy. In Nguyen Ngung, he felt extremely satisfied with this neighbor, not knowing who his brother was. His sister grew up like an angel, so her brother was not a muscular man, right? After the elevator arrived, the 2 said goodbye. Dangerous. Stop going out to the residential area to cut short hair. In the apocalypse, it is not necessary to raise long hair. Actually, there are many people to avoid lice and shave the whole head. But Nguyen's inner mind temporarily has not accepted this. After that, she walked around the apartment building to see the peaceful and beautiful scenery before the end of the world. At 6 o'clock in the afternoon, Nguyen Ngung returned home, put his cell phone into the space, and then checked if there was a shortage of electronic products. Yesterday, she put the car into the space. After that, someone discussed to see if there were signs of apocalypse or not. Some people said that they saw fish dancing, animals fled, but in fact most people could not explain. The bright area of the super typhoon will suddenly explode. No sound, no forecast, nor too strong light. The sun began to set in the west. Only hearing a strange sound came from the sky, then did not know. The children of the family stood next to the window shouted, Mom, have a plane! The plane is so big. The plane crashed. The accident and coming to make people unable to calculate exactly how many people were killed in this plane crash. It was not until later, When the extreme areas in the world began the war for resources, at this time people gathered and calculated, together, according to incomplete statistics. At that time, more than 1,700 civil aircraft were flying. It was estimated that the number of victims had exceeded 1 million people. This figure does not include casualties due to aircraft loss of control and plunge to the ground. 20 minutes later, the sun suddenly dives silently. The whole apartment area fell into chaos. Almost everyone ran down the stairs because they did not know what happened. They thought it was just an unintended accident, but they were the only people who saw a plane accident. Want to report the police, but the phone cannot be used. Until now, no one has been aware of the arrival. They quickly went to find the manager of the house, then asked the manager of the house for the people to follow them to the police station near the recent report, and another group wanted to go to the mountain where the plane crashed a bit. Is this dark? How can you get into the mountain? Not afraid of danger? What about being survived? The living person. Watch out, not only could not find the living, but submit his life in it. Until then, he had to wait for others to come to save. You guys say what is going on. The electricity is not available, and the mobile cannot use it. The crowd was gossiping. Suddenly, there was a girl about 15, 16 years old ran upstairs, agitated to grab their mother's hand. Parents, the two of them went upstairs to try. Something strange. Her mother puzzled. Where is strange? She ran to the point of red face. In the city, there is no electricity. Everywhere is dark like ink. There is no place to have electricity. Everyone was dumbfounded. Those who responded quickly to run, going to the nearest floor, looking towards the city. Darkness like ink. Everywhere sinking in the darkness. The day before the torch was bright. High-rise buildings were close to each other. Now it is impossible to see anything. He immediately thought of driving, but unexpectedly, when he breathed down, he ran down to the underground parking lot to find himself unable to open the car door. Under the urgent situation, the man who had forgotten was still the car key. He clicked many times, but the car still had no reaction. About half a minute later, he remembered the car key, then hurriedly opened the car door to sit inside. But soon his face was hard. What's wrong? Why can't you boot? Next, more and more people rushed into the underground parking lot, wanting to drive away. But all of them discovered that their car could not boot. The more confused people are. What is the matter in the end? The first person to open the car, Dora, was a man with a pale face, although he did not know what happened, but the current situation was very strange. The face of a 3-person house next to his car is not much better than the child over 20 years old collapsed. What is this? Cars, mobile phones and TVs are broken. Perhaps the end of the world. His mother looked over at over 50 years old. She hurriedly held her child sitting in her driver's seat and said in a small voice, "Don't drive. Take advantage of the gate of the apartment building to get food. Temporarily, do not be shocked to others." At this time, the father and son responded in time. The three of them silently got off the car, silently out of the parking lot. Because of the suspense, both of them trembled. As a result, when coming to the supermarket, the inside has been full of people who have been full for a long time. The mother shouted, "Broken! Quickly take it!" The supermarket in the apartment is quite small. Crowded inside, people rushed to buy different types of necessities. Those who did not get green vegetables and even wanted to clean up some boxes that have not been opened. Everything in the lower floor temporarily had nothing to do with Nguyen Ngung. She cleverly curtained 2 layers, burning a candle in the living room. The fire was weak, shining the pale face of Nguyen Ngung. Just witnessing a passenger plane crash, Nguyen Ngung was extremely scared. If she was in the dark space, she would definitely recall that scene and feel even more scared. It was a plane. Nguyen Ngung likes to travel. Almost all of her salary devoted to the river of the country. So the number of times she went on a plane, unexpectedly one day she saw a plane falling with her own eyes. In places that cannot be seen, there are no 10,000 aircraft falling. This is only the most intuitive damage caused by solar superstorms. Although the sun has set, but its power is still devastating everywhere and will be more frantic than more than ours. The leftover influence of solar super typhoon will exist for 6 days. Under this situation, even if there is electric cutting, it is impossible to save machines, and the electricity system, the sun, will emit the Earth a lot of energy particles, forming a network attack with the industry of humanity. No country can be lucky to avoid escaping, but those things are not important, because the fashion day will begin to rain. In a short time of rain will be heavier and heavier, bigger and bigger, and will quickly submerge the basement. Even in places with low terrain, rain can flood the whole floor. Nguyen Ngung took out his shopping list, checked to see if there was any missing supplies. At this time, her door was knocked by others. Nguyen Ngung's expression was pensive for a while, motionless under the fire. Very quickly had a girl's voice from outside the door. Beautiful people, are you home? I am in 1802. At noon today we have met once. Nguyen Ngung was still silent and did not answer. She sat in a place to look at the door, a fruit knife from the air appearing in her palm. The other girl continued to say, I came to tell you an hour. Now everyone is fighting for food, although it may not be very necessary, but still should reserve a little bit of this and that. My brother told me to come and ask you, do you want to go downstairs with us? Hearing this, Nguyen Ngung was a bit surprised. In the beginning of the apocalypse, or rather, when this group of people has not realized the end of the world is coming and the human nature has not yet completely collapsed, yet also want to make an appointment to buy things. But this is obvious. If the neighbors have nothing to eat, you will be the neighbor's granary, although Nguyen Ngung is unable to do 2 things at the same time, but reminding a sentence is not a bad thing. Similarly, Nguyen Ngung also hoped that her neighbors would have enough food. Nguyen Ngung blowed the candle, then stood up from the sofa. Wait for me a little. Let's go. She took a handful of money in the space and stuffed it into the backpack. Then Nguyen Ngung rushed to open the door. Outside was a girl. Next to her was a man who looked over at only 27 years old. In his hand, he was holding a candle, outside using paper to wrap. The girl was the one that she met at noon. This man is about 8 meters tall, not gentle as the girl, but the face full of extremely handsome, sharp eyes, like an eagle, and a robust body, just looked knowing as a person who regularly exercises sports. Seeing Nguyen Ngung, he introduced himself. I am a Kui Koan, and this is my sister, Trin Kui Calendar. Nguyen Ngung was a little more assured. She had never heard of these 2 names. It seemed that her brother was not a cruel character in the book, and her younger sister was not a member of the harem. She said, Nguyen Ngung in stopping. Nguyen in Nguyen Lin Ngoch. Trin Kui Keo nodded. Let's quickly go downstairs. After saying that, he turned to carry a mountain bike. Nguyen Ngung Kong fasting was glanced at him. Trin Kui Kwan explained. After a while I want to go further to buy a few things. I have to let the 2 go buy food. Trin Kui Lich said, Brother, please rest assured, you will definitely take good care of yourself. Will take good care. Nguyen Ngung added. Nguyen Ngung. Trin Kui Lich nodded. Yes, you can take good care of the beautiful Nguyen Ngung. Nguyen Ngung smiled. Going down from the 18th floor is not easy, but all 3 of them dare to slow down. When they went downstairs, Trin Kui was worried about telling 2 sentences. They should try to take something, and if they can't get it, they will leave. Precious Calendar urges her brother quickly. After the 3 assigned people, Nguyen Ngung and Trin Kui Lich went to the northern gate of the residential area. The supermarket here had candles. There were several lights in the store, helping them to see the chaos inside. During the chaos, some people took the opportunity to take away without paying for. Is this even buying things like this? Trin Kui Lich was extremely doubtful, prepared to grasp his wrist, said to Nguyen Ngung, You can rest assured, normally I am also very practicing. I can definitely win things from the hands of the uncle's aunt. Nguyen Ngung clenched the hands of Kui Lich. You follow me, Precious Calendar. Nguyen. Ngung took Trin Kwai Lich to continue walking forward. When passing by other small supermarkets, she saw that everyone inside was grabbing things together, even someone started fighting. After 3 years, people will store more fiercely. In the situation of unknown what is happening, they can only try to become stronger. After walking 7 or 8 minutes, Nguyen Ngung stopped. Trin Kwai Lich took the candle that her brother gave her out, just lit the candle up to discover that in front of it was a Malatang store not far from the residential area. Currently the store is closed, around without a shadow. Nguyen Ngung knocked on the door. "Boss, are you at home?" There is no sound inside. Nguyen Ngung continued to say, "We came to buy some vegetables. These things did not last long. Everyone prepared a lot, or sold us a little bit. I volunteered to double." About half a minute later, the rolling door was pulled up. Young boss said, "Please come in." Nguyen Ngung and Trin Kwai Lich glanced at each other, then wary of going inside the store. The store is not large. Only light emitted from the candle in the hands of the precious calendar. Inside, except for the boss, there is a wife who always assists the business with him. In the heart of the mistress hugging a baby, the baby was fast asleep. Nguyen Ngung did not say much, but went straight to the problem. "We will buy all the vegetables that the two of them have. If we have more food, we will buy it." The hesitant boss said, "There are still a lot of vegetables and some frozen foods, but we will not sell pasta." Nguyen Ngung nodded. "I understand." The boss quickly wrapped half the number vegetables with white cabbage, spinach, herbs, chives, enoki mushrooms and some other mushrooms. There are also sweet potatoes, dried tofu, lotus root, radish, seaweed, and something has been washed, and there are still unmarried. The boss also packed a little frozen beef, bacon, chicken feet, beef balls, fish balls, and other meat. Malatang stores often sell vermicelli, sweet potato, instant noodles, and other daily foods. Usually, the boss will buy these items in a dry form, and then when sold, they will take away soaked in water. Nguyen Ngung saw in his kitchen storage a lot of barrels, about 20 barrels, of instant noodles, but she did not say anything. The boss also discovered her gaze, seeing that both of them were girls, biting their lips slightly, saying, "Now I am not sure what I am happening. I just imported the goods. Let me share with the 2 packs of instant noodles." This story for Nguyen Ngung is nothing, but for the quarter of the calendar is a good thing. Her eyes lit up. "So good. I told me to buy something earlier. The boss does not seem to want to. Now no one knows what's going on, but he thinks that if he can help, he should still help a bit. Anyway, his hand still has a lot of inventory. Probably not so much. Later that there is no food, right? It's just a power outage.